All right. Welcome back to another edition of our weekly chicken and cat yoga. We've got chickens and we have cats. The cats are trying to work their way over here. All right, good. Great. Welcome back to our regulars. If you're new, welcome. And we're meditating. Introductions. This cat is Baby Monster. There's Coco. Coco is molting, so don't call the Society for the Prevention of the Cruelty of the Animals. And that's Rita. And I don't know if you can see fauna. I can never tell the frame, but you can't see Becky. Anyway, we're all here except for Banu. He's really tired. Come here, Banu. Banu, come here. All right, he's not gonna come. Okay, so we're meditating. So, and it was a treat for the chickens. Oh, they love the corn. They just love corn. I don't think it's very good for them. I don't think corn's good for anybody. Oh, baby, what's the matter? Okay, so we were meditating. Let's get started. Because last week we went for 90 minutes. That was not my intention. So grasp your feet. But I don't really care. But, and you can always, oh, they tipped over my water. Oh, God damn it, you guys. All right. Inhale up and then exhale over. Come on, get out of my way. Get out of my way. Get out of the way. Relax down here. You guys relax, I'll handle this here. They go crazy for chicken. Chicken. Corn. They go crazy for corn. I mean literally crazy, like they're seeing red right now. They can't Oh, so as long as you can see them all. This is Rita. That's Fauna. This is Coco. And there's blonde Becky. Won't let me touch her. Which is all right with me. There you go, Becky. Come on, Becky, get some too. Okay, so let's come up. Go right into our camel ride. So grasp both feet. Exhale back. And then inhale forward, arching the back, forward. Exhale, round the back. And so I had a tiny realization this morning, and it could be super obvious, but I thought I was losing my flexibility, but then I realized that when I used to do yoga and I thought I was more flexible, it was because I had ridden my bike to the place where we were doing our yoga. And just that tiny warm-up, for me, it's not a big warm-up because I don't ride very fast or anything like that, and I don't ride very far, but just that minor warm-up transformed my practice. So if you are doing yoga after like a long day at your office job, it's gonna seem laborious and difficult. So you might try as an experiment, if you do go for a walk or something regularly or on a weekend or something, try doing your yoga after you come back from your walk. It's just an experiment, just to see, not that there's anything wrong with doing yoga in the morning straight after rolling out of bed, but it's a different experience when when you're either warmed up or loosened up. Those are two different things. And loosening up is, I think, primarily riding my bike is loosening up. Everything's just nice and kind of loose. So anyway, maybe that's my thought for the day. Oh, Rita, what's the matter, Rita? Have some more corn. Don't drag it in the dirt. Here, son. So then next time, oh, and I forgot to tell you, massage your feet when you're holding your feet. There's a whole science and an art of foot massage that we don't really go into that much in yoga, but we might. Same thing with the eye yoga that we do from time to time. We don't do it out here outdoors so much. I don't know why, but probably maybe do more eye yoga and then maybe look at the feet a little bit more in the coming weeks. So don't drag it in the dirt. So next time you get to the front, let's release our feet. Go around in a circle. So the set that we're doing today is a set that is deliberately designed to conjure up some rain for us. Okay? So right now this circular movement could be seen like water circling a drain. Baby's getting a little nervous. Oh. So Coco's molting, which means to replace all those feathers, she needs lots more minerals and possibly protein. So I'm feeding her as much as she wants. I'm glad that she's getting a chance to eat that corn. Corn doesn't have very much nutrition at all, but she was broody, which means she was only eating once a day. She lost a ton of weight, so it's good for her to put some weight back on. So again, we're trying to conjure up some rain. Don't drink my water. Oh, God. So, you guys, if you can't feel your core working when you make these circles, you can lay your hand on your core, or both hands, and not only will you feel in all four directions of the circle this movement, but laying your hands on the core actually will cue the muscles to work, right? So it's increasing that. And the arms overhead, it makes you work much harder here to hold my hands. You probably can't even see my hands. Let's do one more in this direction and then change directions. So I haven't been making references too much to what's going on in the world right now because I tend to think of yoga as being timeless, but I could have gone the other way and used these videos as a sort of a COVID-19 diary, because the only reason I'm making these videos is because of COVID-19, because we can't practice together. So instead of making a COVID-19 diary, I mean, every now and then I'll mention it. So I'll tell you it's June 28th. Arizona cases have spiked. It's not really a second wave. It's like the first wave that we never had, right? Because we were doing really good when other states were doing bad. But anyway, the only reason I mention it is because these videos are probably going to continue for a while, and even when I offer to do yoga with you in the dojo, you may not take me up on that, which is perfectly okay. And I don't want, when I finally do invite you guys back, I don't want anything I say to be construed as endorsement or encouragement. When we get back together, it's going to be purely optional and at your own risk, and you won't hurt my feelings if you don't join us, right? And it'll probably be first come, first serve, and a couple of people who come late might not be able, they might have to turn around and go home, which is a horrible thought. Very inconvenient, almost rude. If it was in other circumstances, I would say that was rude of the proprietor. Anyways, so just telling you where we're at. There's, as of today, there seems to be no end in sight, and some people are talking about increasing the restrictions again. So let's go back down to our knees here. So it looks like we're going to be stuck together on these videos for a while. So I'll do my best to make them entertaining. You always get at least one cat and at least 2 chickens, or I will just, or I'll do something else. I'll pause the video if I have to. And then I have one secret weapon, which I have yet to use if we get a poor turnout with the animals. But I can't tell you what that is. You'll see someday. All right. So this is our water circling a drain. Go deep into the pelvic bowl. So when you bring your hands back to your knees, that's not time to get lazy. You're working even harder, going deep. You can't see what's going on here. A gentle closing of any muscle you can feel in the pelvic bowl. Give me that back. Come here. And then, okay, so we're done with that. Let's fold our legs the other way. Oh no, we're not done with that. So since we're doing watery poses and poses tending to conjure up water, let's bring our arms back up and we'll make a fish spine. Okay, so fish really only bend their spine in this axis here, right? A fish's entire life is spent on this axis. So, see, I'm starting out very small and then increasing it. Oh, you're done now, huh? Well, you look like a mess. She's got feathers missing. It's sad. It's really sad. But they're all going to molt eventually. So this is a side stretch, but it's an internal stretching. We have no leverage, so it's all based on core strength to move us from side to side, which is good because this early in our session we don't want a crazy side stretch, right? All right, that's enough. So that's our fish spine. Now I'm going to switch my legs around. I know Banu's out there somewhere. We'll get him back for the second half, okay, you guys? I promise. So I crossed my legs the other way, tucked the feet, and we'll just walk our hands out. You poor thing. Can people see you? So I never know what's in our frame or not. I hope you can see baby kind of hiding in the tall grass over here. And I hope you can see the top of my head. And then we have Becky over in the back over there. Come back up. We'll do our favorite twist from Kundalini Yoga, sitting tall, take a deep breath, exhale, twist to one side, and inhale back to center. Come back, baby. Come back. Come here, look what I got for you. No, no. Baby. No, no, no. No. Not for you. No, get away. Get away. Come on, get away. Going like this. Alright, so we lost our cats. That's tragic. So you might notice it's a little earlier. Yes, I've learned my lesson. We just passed the summer solstice, and you're saying, why didn't we do some huge celebration of the solstice? Well, I'll tell you why. Is because I think that the sun is overrated and overrepresented in Hatha Yoga. It's the sun is the masculine, and it's just way overrepresented. That's why I do at least 2 lunar sets every month. And anyway, the sun in Arizona is way overrepresented too, right? So if you live in Arizona, you don't really have to celebrate the sun. Does that make any sense? You can go like this if you want. If you can't see my hands, my palms come together overhead. But my point was, it was summer solstice, so the longest day of the year. So you would hope that I would start out this session as really, really early, but it's just hard to get everything together in the morning. Oh, there's Banu. Banu! Banu! So you can hear the that little sparrow or whatever, that's their alarm call, because Baby Monster is going to great lengths to try to catch one of these birds. Although, in this case, she has no chance. I wish you could see this. She's trying to climb up this tree. Let's do one more of these. Come to center. Oh, let's go. Come to center. And then, oh, brother. So you can see some of the alarm calls are a little more urgent than others. Come here, Fauna. Let's see. Okay, so shake your legs out. Nothing left on there. Okay, and we will, give me that. Okay, let's do the half Lord of the Fishes twist. So, this is the one that's a little confusing. I am going to, this is my right leg. I'm going to sweep my, no. I'm going to sweep my right leg back behind me, and my left leg is going to be more or less upright, and my left leg is to the right of my right knee. Okay? I'm going to, you guys stay where you are. I'm turning around. So now, hey Banu. So now I'm gonna, come here Banu. I'm gonna twist to my left. Okay. And I don't want this twisting to make my posture suffer. So I don't want to be like this. I want to be upright. And that's why a lot of people like this, right? But now I lost my leverage. I have no more leverage, nothing to hang on to. So there's good points and bad points for doing it both ways. This is why we try it both ways, right? Leverage here, a little bit more twist, but you gotta sit tall. And then this is the other variation. And if you ever forget which way to twist in the direction of this foot. If you can't see this back foot, something's wrong. Okay? Let's release. And then I'm gonna turn the other way. So the left leg is swept back. Okay. Right leg is more or less upright. That's this back swept foot. So this is the direction that I'm going to twist, okay? Wow, it's so funny. So Becky, so you saw Rita just cruise over there. Becky found something, and they just keep such a close eye on each other that they're always sharing what they find. So remember the Lord of the Fishes, that's Matsyendranath, and as we discussed, he's sort of the Hindu version of Jonah, but he spent like 13 years in a whale, and Jonah was just a couple of days, right? So, but the weird thing is this, is that Matsyendranath is a figure in Hindu mythology, which you can take literally. Many people take it literally. But he's also known as the founder of Hatha Yoga, right? So it would seem like one is a historical reference and the other is a mythological reference, or there could be two people with that name. Then I just got them mixed up. And or one story's true and the other story is like a little fib. I don't know. One more breath here. And then release down. Untwist. Great. So let's see. Let's do our mermaid side stretch. I'm losing my son here, you guys. So I gotta find a good spot for this. You know, you're on the wrong side of the fence. Okay, baby's coming. She's on the wrong side of the fence. This is sad. So let's do our thunderbolts plus our mermaid side stretch. So we won't do all of our thunderbolts. We'll just do the main one with the feet flat, right? Come up to here. If you can't see my hands anymore, my palms are together. Now you have options here. You can do this with your arms back down, or one arm down and one arm up. But what I'm talking about is we're going to come off to the side. And I'm going to come off to my weak side first, just so you know that this is not easy for me. And come off over to here. Whoa, that was not graceful. So at least one hip should be off of your feet, and preferably two hips if you can manage it. Depends on how your body's built also. So in other words, the further I can get off of my feet, the better, right? So here's where you could have one arm down or both arms down, and you still can get a good side stretch and you still look like a mermaid. Okay, so same thing goes for getting back up to center. You can boost yourself up with both hands, or one hand, or no hands. Here we go. On an inhale. All right. Okay, so here we go. Catnip for a baby monster. This is where it should get really weird. Here you go. There you go. Oh yeah, where'd that come from? Oh, what's that? Uh-oh. Here we go. See how our behavior changes. Let's go over to the other side. Ugh. All right, that looked terrible. But I just fell into a hole, you guys. There's a hole here. You can't blame me for my lack of good form. Oh, baby, she loves that catnip. Uh-oh. Hope she doesn't destroy my notes today the way she did last time. We'll find out what she does. She already lost the catnip. I don't think she feels any relationship between the catnip and her change in mood. So I'm going to come up, back up to center. You don't want to pull these muscles, right? So drop an arm down if you need to. And come on, you got to get out. You got to get out of the way. You got to get out of the way. Oh, no. This is not going to work. All right, let's see if I can. I don't want to crush my poor cat. All right, there we go. And my feet are on stones too, not fair. All right, there we go. There's our thunderbolts and our mermaid side stretch and our baby. All right, so let's see what comes next. Our squat of the week. Okay, baby, you're gonna have to get up. Come on, baby, you gotta get up. Come into your squat, guys. I'll get rid of this cat here in a second. Okay, just roll over here. Okay. Squat, please. Where did your catnip go, huh? It's just one leaf of catnip. That's all it takes for her. She's a cheap date. Okay. Any kind of squat you like to do. So whoa. If squats are difficult for you, don't worry about it. That's your process, right? To every week it's getting a tiny bit easier, right? Everybody's body's different. Here's our little leaf of catnip. Here you go. It's right there. Okay, up to a hanging forward bend. Oh, you know what? I should have kept the catnip for when we went to the dojo so we could have wacky hijinks at the dojo. Oop, I'm going to take this catnip away from her. Yep, too much. She's already going nuts. Let's see, watch this. Let's see. Okay, walk your feet out into straddle. We'll come into lunge, but we'll work our way over there slowly. So just walk your hands over to one foot. Keep the feet parallel for right now. Keep the legs straight. Head over towards the knee. And then pivot around. Now we're in our classic lunge. And then you can add our twist if you want. Oh, Coco, what's the matter, Coco? How about one more breath here? Come on down. And then we'll come back to center. So when I turn away from you guys, I can look that way, look for hawks and other threats. We had a hawk kill a bird right above our Pilates practice in the park. It just took a bird up into a tree and just tore it to pieces, and feathers were raining down on everyone. So I'm going to keep my feet parallel, keep my legs straight, walk my hands over towards one foot, bring my head over towards the knee. And now we can pivot around into lunge, bending that knee. You could add that twist if you wanted to. This hand, put weight into this hand, otherwise it won't work. One more breath here. Put the arm down. Back around, pivot around to your straddle. Hang out in your straddle. You might like to drop your head down, so I'm not doing that because I'm right in the dirt here, you guys. So, but I mean, I can rest my head on my arms.
So how about one more breath down here? And then slowly start to bring the legs in, one little pivot at a time. Relax here. And then what's going to happen is we're going to come up to standing, but my head's going to get cut off here, or my head is going to get blasted in the morning sunlight, which I don't want either of those things to happen. So I think we'll take it over to the dojo for our standing poses, and then we'll come back here later to meditate. So from here, we'll just come up to standing. And you guys take as much or as little of a water break as you want. You can take a nice, relaxing, long water break. Don't eat anything. Or you can, if you want to keep your level of exertion high, just take a sip of water, keep the heart rate high, keep your body nice and warm, and just power through for the whole session. It just depends on how you like to do it. Okay. Anyway, I'll see you shortly.
Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna do some standing poses. I just don't want to be out in the 100-degree heat when that sun's hitting me right on the side of the head. So let's see. So let us come out into a 5-pointed star. And again, we're trying to conjure up some rain here. So think of a starfish. Hang on, I actually have a starfish handy. We have a starfish courtesy of Barb. She got this on the Jersey coast, so it's not exotic. See how the starfish, think about rain, open your chest and shoulders. And we'll just do the triangle because when these starfishes are alive, they're actually flexible, right? So they could do this pose. Baby, come back. Don't go in there. Oh boy. Turn both feet to the right or to whatever side you want. Doesn't matter to me. You can be mirroring me. And then we'll just ease over. So remember this triangle we're doing is the one where the leg never bends. So if it's not going to bend, then you might only come down this far, right? Better to come down this far with a straight leg than to cheat a little bit to try to get down to here, because that's not the same pose. Okay, so come down to here. If this is as far as you're going, then look up at your arm by twisting here. Maybe you can eventually sink down a little further. And I'm not going to torque my neck out. Looking at this hand is not the most important thing. In fact, you could make an argument for looking straight ahead. This would keep my spinal alignment. That'd be a good argument you could make if, and in some practices they might do that. Right, so up here or here. And then you can try, remember we have at least 4 ways to come up from here. One, and I'll demonstrate all 4, but you know which one you like the best. One would be to climb up physically, and And the other would be to reach this hand up and pull yourself up. And then the one that I currently like the best is the relaxation method, where I know I want to come back to that starfish pose. So all I do, and the most important part is the relaxation part, I just relax and then let my body take me back up there. Come here, baby. Okay, so back to our starfish. But, I'm sorry. Keep your feet pivoted to the right, okay? And then we will come around as if to do, I have to move slightly. There she is. That's a good girl. So come around as if to do a warrior one. Bend the right knee now, okay? And we'll do a Qigong move called Scoop the Ocean and Gaze at the Horizon. Oh, she wants a little catnip. There you go, baby. There's your catnip. Give it to you right here. There you go. Okay, so, but we'll do it not so much as Qigong, more like yoga, okay? Qigong, we would go from side to side, back and forth, but we'll just do them all. Ow, ow! We'll do them all on this side, okay? So get ready and careful of your back. Engage the abs to protect the back and reach down and scoop the ocean. Go down as far as you want, and then come up, and then gaze at the horizon. Arms back. So we will pull our arms back further than they would in Qigong, because we want this heart opening, this shoulder opening. Okay, so why don't they do that in Qigong? Why don't they have more of this heart opening? Well, I wondered and I wondered and I wondered, and it could be that, centuries ago or even today in Chinese culture, there may be a huge emphasis on perfect posture, and perfect posture is usually not perfect. It is, you arrive at your posture normally in the military or in the church or in the school through tension. Right? So maybe all day long in China, in the temple, in the school, in the military, out at your job, they're always throwing their shoulders back and sticking their chin out. And so in Tai Chi and Qigong, they say, no, that's not healthy. You want to relax the shoulders and have the chin tucked in a natural way. Think about lengthening the spine rather than throwing the shoulders back. So that's one possible explanation, is that they already had these big open poses, right? All day long, people were telling you to do that. Let's do one more. Scoop the ocean and gaze at the horizon. But there are very open positions in Qigong, not quite as many, right? Because they encourage, I'll show you what they do encourage, is just turn back to center, and they encourage more of a relaxed feeling here, which normally would be bad posture, right? So let's turn to the other side, to pivot to the other side, keep the legs straight. We won't do that Qigong just yet. Remember, we're going to do our triangle. So ease over and down. It should look on this side similar to what it looked like on the other side, unless you have an injury or your body's just different on this side. But as a frame of reference, you might want to, or if it doesn't feel the same on this side, you just note that, and it's just more knowledge that you have about your body, right? Because if yoga is anything, it's just teaching us about our body in terms of abilities and limitations too, right? So this suggestion of
of why Qigong avoided certain things is that because there was an overabundance already in the society, this works too for yoga, because I had often wondered, okay, so remember which method that you chose to come back up to standing, because we're going to do it soon. So think about it before you do it. You have to, that's another good principle for yoga, is to don't just jump in and do something, especially not imitating me. Now that we have a video, you can watch me first and then replay it and then imitate me if you're fairly new. If you're advanced, you're going to be way ahead of me. Okay, so we came back to here, and then she better not chew up my ankle. You wouldn't do that, would you? No. Okay, so we're going to turn both feet left or to this side again, and then bend this knee, come around. So I don't know how I got against the wall again here, but I'm going to move over here. Don't you move, you're fine. Okay, so again, so scoop the ocean, gaze at the horizon, get nice and stable. So maybe for this you want a little wider distance here, just for stability's sake. And maybe you like a longer stance too. You can always readjust these things. You're not stuck in a position. You may feel like, well, this pose is going to be over in a few seconds. I'll just endure it the way I'm doing it. Try to remember next time to do it differently. But today I'm going to just suffer through it. But no, I say, take a minute, readjust. Nobody cares. Nobody's looking at you. Okay, so I'm opening really wide here. So you know the breath pattern without me telling you. When you close, you exhale. And when you open, you inhale. Except for rare exceptions. So this is opening, so I inhale. So anyway, so back to the yoga equivalent. The yoga, so I've often wondered in yoga, why are the poses so contrived and so geometric, for instance, when we know that there is no geometry in the human body? There are no straight lines in the human body, and all of our movements are not straight lines. You think that they are because you think like an engineer building a robot, but we're not a robot. We don't move. Our body's not built like a robot. We don't move like a robot. So why would yoga have these geometric poses with all these straight lines? Well, the only answer I can come up with is similar to that Qigong answer, is that their daily life was full of functional movements and poses and offhand poses that nobody thought about, that they just did. And we know that in India, to this day, very few people use chairs. A lot of people sit on the ground, and those would be very offhand positions, asymmetrical positions, very naturalistic movements, a lot of ground movements. And so they were already doing this constantly. So they didn't need to do that. So if they were to develop a system of postures or movements, it would be fairly contrived, and it would have roots in sacred geometry. It would have roots in mythology and in nature, but the nature would not be literal, it would be symbolic in nature, right? So they would not, so the yoga poses that are animal-based are not literally trying to be like an animal. They're very symbolic, right? So that's how I reconcile this. But the point is in our life, and so that's the last one we're going to do. So let's stay open, turn back. But in our life, we're no longer working and sitting on the ground all the time. And we're not doing natural movements. Our normal movements are contrived and arbitrary. Sitting in chairs we were never designed to sit in.
So we need to go back to more of that, and yoga has some of it, but really that's not its original intent, which is why I'm interested in natural movements. And once COVID's over, I promise you we will have some natural movement classes. I can't do a natural movement video because the movements are, there's a lot of opportunity for injury if you don't do it correctly, because we haven't done this stuff in thousands of years, and so going back to it is very difficult. So throw those arms wide and then come back to center. And let me see, I think we're maybe done with our standing poses. Let's just check and see. I believe we are. So, have some more water, and then we will drop back down to a hanging forward bend. You can tell a break is coming up. We will go rejoin the chickens. So you guys take your water break and then come back to a hanging forward bend, and I will rejoin you outdoors. So we're back. We're gonna head back down to the ground. So I'm gonna come to a hanging forward bend. Leave that alone. Leave it alone. I told you, leave it alone. Hanging forward bend, and then yeah, make sure I don't step on a cat. We will so to come into downward facing dog, depending on where you are on your mat, if you're at the front of your mat, you'll jump back or walk back. If you're at the back of your mat, you'll walk your hands forward, or you could do a combination of both. I'm going to bring my hands forward into a spot that's clean, has some nice grass, and then I'll just jump my legs back the rest of the way. All right. Oh yeah. So this is our downward facing DOG. I can't believe Banu lays in full sunlight. That's because that's his white fur. It's a super insulator, and of course it's also white, which is reflective. All right, one more good stretch here. And then we'll do, again, to conjure up some rain, we will do another mermaid pose, right? So I'm going to take my right knee and just slide it through here. Okay. Okay, find this comfortable position here. Remember, the mermaid, the leg is straight. It's not crooked like the pigeon. And I know that that's a distinction that some instructors, they don't make that distinction, but I do. So anyway, and we'll come all the way down over this leg. This is a nice alternative to lunge. If you ever get at a point in your practice where lunge is uncomfortable, then this would be your new lunge. And hopefully, to me, this is more doable, and you just are dealing with gravity here. So I like the progression that we do to get up to mermaid, because each point in the progression is a really good pose all by itself. So if you don't want to continue the progression to the next level, don't feel weird, because these are all good, legitimate yoga poses. Here is a great pose. Next, we would come up to sort of a half of a cobra. This is a really good pose, especially if this is not a throwaway pose, is what I'm saying. You get a good stretch in the hip flexor if you extend that leg back, right? And of course you get a good stretch in the front of your body. Pull up through the crown point of the head at all times to lengthen the spine. So if you were to stay here, this would be fine. But you could also come up onto your knee. A little more stretch of everything. So from here on out, though, you're rather committed. So if you're going to go further, you have to engage the abs to protect the lower back, and then the arms would come out to the side, and you would turn to the side. Now so this is another good pose. There's nothing wrong with this pose. There's no reason why you need to grasp this foot, especially if it makes you fall over, right? So, and if you're afraid that you're going to fall over, then hold the first position long enough to make it a satisfying pose before you attempt to take it further, right? And then we're stretching here, so you don't have to be static. You can play around with this to increase your range of motion. And then I'm going to let this go with control. I'm not going to let that foot fly back. Set it down, turn back. Let's collapse all the way back down and rest here. And then you guys can stay in this position, but I'm gonna switch sides, okay? So this happens to be my right knee. I'm gonna turn around and come to my left knee, but you guys can do whatever you want. Okay. And if you happen to turn away from me, you know what we're doing, and you can just follow the sound of my voice, okay? So I'm gonna sneak a sip of water. Uh-oh, something in the water. Oh no. Somehow tons of grass got in this water. Who's responsible for that? Yeah, it's you. All right, so we were down, all the way down. And remember, this is not a throwaway. This is a great pose here, right? If this is all you do, I shouldn't even say all you do, because that makes it sound cheap, right? But this is a legit pose. Right. So people have been contacting me, letting me know that they're doing yoga with their pets also, and that their pets are responding to my pets, and that is so cool. It is so awesome. So Becky is the least friendly chicken to the cats, and she openly harasses Baby. But I don't blame her, because Baby was mean to the chicks when they were tiny. So it's payback now. So don't feel bad for Baby when the chickens chase her around the yard. Someday, like a giant sparrow is going to come down and swoop down and pick up Baby Monster, take her away. For all the sparrows that this cat has eaten. Very bad, very bad. Leave my water alone. Okay, so we come up. This is not a throwaway pose. You may want to stay here. If you do, draw this leg back as far as you can. Every part of the body is actively engaged. Nothing's just hanging out. Banu's pretending to be asleep, but he's not really asleep. You can see his ears moving all over the place. I'm coming up a little higher. Checking for hawks. Interesting, the doves have left. Sparrows are still here. I don't know where the doves went to. Okay, so if you want to go further, it's up to you. Engage the abs to protect your lower back. Come up to here and then turn. So again, don't ruin this pose by trying to grab your legs. So hold this pose in long enough so that if everything falls apart, I had a good pose here for a moment, for a couple of breaths, and then I can see if I can get this, but without sacrificing the rest of the pose, okay? Okay, this is sort of how we increase our progressions, is with control and methodically, not grasping for things that we can't really attain. We have to come into them slowly, because it won't happen magically, you guys. All right, good. And then to center everything out, let's just go back to child pose. And I'm doing what's known as an extended child pose when I'm in the dirt here, because I don't want to get my face down into the dirt or my forehead down, so I keep my arms out in front of me. You can have your arms swept back if you want. So let's do, let's just come up to hands and knees. Do some cat and cow. My head's getting hit by sun. I'm going to move back here. Okay, so remember, do one more of each, and then remember our fish spine. This is more, so this is again, so now we're going to try to conjure up some rain. So I'm doing my lateral spine movement. This is more, now you can feel how this is like a fish, right? Okay, so that's another look at our fish spine. I'm going to curl my toes under. I'm going to drop down to my elbows, and we'll do our dolphin. And this is also another way to work into your headstand, right? We're not going to do a headstand. I'm just going to press up to like a downward facing dog, but this is a dolphin pose. And the dolphin pose, the dolphin is playful animal, so it doesn't have to be a static pose. You can push and kind of move around. I don't know, you can do anything you want. One more breath, and then drop back down to your knees, and we'll go back to child pose. This time I have to bring my head down because we're going to do the anchor pose. So find me a clean spot. Try to conjure up some more water by doing our anchor.
Feel free to move around a little bit. How about one more breath? And then release gently. Okay, we're working through these poses. Another water-based pose would be Makarasana, and we can do the interesting version. This is ancient and rare Hatha yoga pose. So we come to laying down, and then this is the one like a teenager watching TV in the living room back when they used to have TVs and in the living room, big TV. So come on, Banu, the sun keeps finding Banu wherever he goes. So this is the one where we hold your head or your face gently, and so you can feel what's going on here. It's like a little back bend, and then also draw your elbows forward. So don't torque your neck. It's not about the neck. All right, that's good. Where'd my notes go? Hey, leave her alone. So where's my notes? Banu, you're not sitting on my notes, are you? Up. Of course he is. God dang you. All right. So, let us, let's go back to a frog pose. Oh no, did Rita just chase baby away? That's so funny. I can't wait to look at the video. Okay, so a frog pose, the feet are out sideways and the knees are far enough apart so that your hips can sink down between your legs. And then of course we'll just keep our arms here, or you could walk your arms out. Rita, be nice. What's the matter with you? So this is our frog. Conjuring up some rain, you guys. All right, good. More water poses. Okay, so some of these poses, when we're just trying to do a 1 hour set, we don't get to them. Do you mind, Rita? Okay, so let's do our compass pose. This is the one we never get to. Come on, cut it out. And so this bottom leg is just here for stability. It's not doing anything or stretching. And then this leg is just going to come up. This is the needle of the compass. And if this is challenging, you could hold down here, but the leg will tend to bend, right? So anything you can do to hold above the knee is going to help with the purpose of the pose, which is not so much to get your leg high, but to straighten here with the hamstrings, right? So it's not what the pose looks like, it's what it's actually doing, right? And if I can flex the foot, I pull this even more, right? So that's why I'm reaching for my foot, not because it looks good or something. So if you can get one foot here, then you could steady yourself, or one hand.
Okay, and then again, I'm trying to get some decent posture too, if I can. All right, and that's fine. That's all. Remember in the good old days when I could bring my foot behind my head? Well, this is what I was referring to before, is that I would need a lot more warm-up to be able to accomplish that, and I just don't have the sufficient warm-up at 6:30 in the morning. Right? So that's my excuse. But again, if you want to attempt bringing that foot behind the head, don't think about foot behind head. Think about the mechanics of what's going on. So you would you got to get this arm in front of your leg, or your whole shoulder will push this leg back, right? Push it back that way, and then this hand will bring the leg around. But remember your intention. Your intention is to push the leg back. Forget about your foot right now. So anyway, so let's just go back to where we were. That's enough. And then let's release that. So we need to do our traditional boat pose. Well, look, since our legs are already crossed, if your legs are crossed, let's do a non-traditional version of the fish. So I'm going to try to get off of rocks and stones here, and check behind me. You might want to watch this. So I'm going to grab onto my feet. This might not be very graceful. Okay, I'm going to hang on to my feet and then go back and then arch up. Okay, so I'm on my elbows and my feet, and I'm arching my back. Try not to dig my head into the dirt, but you could push your head into your mat if you wanted to. And then that's enough on this side. I'm going to see if I can rock. I'm going to rock back to sitting. You guys, I'm in a hole. You guys, this is the reason for my lack of grace. I promise. This is really rough ground. Okay, so I recrossed my legs the other way. Do everything on both sides. And then back into my hole. And then I bring my feet down, sort of hyperextend upward, push the elbows down, press up. All right, that's good. Okay, so that was a non-traditional or a rare variant of the fish. I like that one a lot. It's not good if you're out in a hole like this, but it's better. It's not too bad. So then let's see, how about the traditional boat? Well, no, let's do our side pose first. We can rest in our side pose. At least Banu stuck around. Okay, so this version, remember, feet pressed together, heels pressed together, feet fanned out, arms in a circle. The circle doesn't meet. Even if you could, I know you could. This keeps it open, and then everything is straight here, which will create a balance. And if I can't lift my legs up very high, it doesn't matter. A little bit is all it needs. Now, and I'll show you what not to do. If you sit back, then you can get your legs up here. You're like, look at me, look at me. but that's not correct, right? You're using your abs. You want to be sideways and use your obliques, right? So not to say that one is a total waste. I mean, they're both using important muscle groups, but we're about to do another pose using our abs. So we do want to use the obliques, okay? So you can barely see my legs lifting, but they're coming up, okay? All right, other side, please. So you guys can just roll over and face away from me if you want, because you know what I'm about to say. Arms in a circle, heels together, feet fanned out, body nice and long. And on that, we're all in the frontal plane now, not leaning back. Bring the legs up a tiny bit until you can feel it in the obliques. One more breath here. Now let's take a couple more breaths. Okay, how's that? That's about the same time as we did on the other side. But when I showed you the wrong way, if you imitated me, according to our rules, you have to imitate me doing it the wrong way on this side. So I sit back, and now look how easy it is to bring the legs up. Whee! Okay, so, but as I promised, when we do our traditional boat pose, you'll be using those muscles much more effectively, right? So, all right, let me find a level spot. Oh, baby's outside the fenced area. That's pretty lame. Okay, so remember traditional boat. Come into this slowly. I'm doing the one with where the deck of our boat is flat, right? I know you can do more advanced versions. Sometimes the simple version is best. So here, chest high, one leg up, ready for your balance. When you bring the other leg up, you come into a balance. Keep the abs tight, breathe, sort of tip back a little bit. That's a safe way to make it a little harder. Lift the chest, breathe. How about one more breath? And then release. Okay, great. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do one more mermaid pose, and it's a twist. When we come down, you won't be able to see me, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing from up here. It's similar to the normal twist that we do, but it's different in that instead of my knees being together like this, I'm going to go here. So I'm going to go here, if you can see that. And then instead of my arms out to the sides, if my knees go this way, I'm going to make mermaid arms and go this way. So let me review that. So knees to this side, arms to this side, and I'm going to be laying flat. Okay, so let's see if we can put this together without knocking into Banu. Lay back. And you can set up your legs right now if you want before you lay back so you can see what I'm saying. And then lay back. And then flatten your body out, palms together, and reach the palms over to the other side. The opposite direction that your knee is pointed. And this is our mermaid twist. It's more challenging than our normal final twist. How about one more breath?
And then we'll reassemble on the other side. I'm going to flip my knees over. You got to let that hip open up and settle down to even get your legs to lay flat, right? And then my arms come up and over to the opposite side. So if my knee is pointing to the left, my arms are reaching over to the side with the palms together. And the head looking away from the direction that the knee is pointed. I hope that all made sense. One more breath. All right, good. I hope that pose made sense. If that's the first time you've done it that way, it's always going to feel strange. So maybe we should do that more often. We have a lot of ocean poses in yoga because India has, 50,000 miles of coastline. Not really, but they have a lot of coastline, so water figures big in yoga. So I'm hugging my knees to my chest, working out any leftover tension. And as usual, I will start you in your meditation, then I will leave you to meditate with the animals, which is infinitely preferable. So let's do Geronda's gross meditation. Gross meditation meaning instead of trying to empty the mind, you fill the mind with preferable thoughts, preferable to what you're going to get at Trader Joe's later. So here we go. So Geronda said the yogi should visualize, well, hang on. Let me come down into my corpse pose. Sorry. And then you're in your nice corpse pose. And Geronda said 400 years ago, the yogi should visualize a sublime ocean of nectar in your heart with an island of jewels whose sand is diamonds and rubies. You are surrounded by rare types of flowering trees producing sweet fragrances. Brightly colored birds perch in the trees, filling the air with song. Steady yourself and visualize a magical tree which fulfills wishes. Under this tree stands a jeweled pavilion. In the pavilion are comfortable chairs upon which to relax. And so you hang out in this pavilion, and that becomes the whole island becomes your mind, and you just inhabit that beautiful place. And I want to thank you all for joining me. You guys are great, and I love you all, and I miss you guys all. We'll be back together again, and some of you know we have if you live in Tucson, Arizona, we have a practice in the park on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. That would be McCormick Park. And but if you're watching this video because you don't want to go outside, I understand completely. And so let's see. Let's bring you back to your island. I'm sorry. You were in a sublime ocean of nectar in your heart with an island of jewels whose sand is diamonds and rubies, and you're surrounded by rare types of flowering trees producing sweet fragrances. Brightly colored birds perch in the trees, filling the air with song. Steady yourself and visualize a magical tree which fulfills wishes. Under this tree stands a jeweled pavilion. The pavilion are comfortable chairs